Back to business today. Thank you for staying with us. Now we go on. The construction sector has been urged to explore building methods that are climate friendly. Nakip Kemboi now joins us from the KICC, where he is attending the Africa Climate Week. Good afternoon, Noah. Give us more from that side.
Well, good afternoon, Calvin. Indeed, when you talk about sustainability, it touches on all facets of our lives. And by this, I mean each and every sector can contribute to climate change, and also on the flip side, they can make interventions to lessen their impact, for example, on carbon emissions. And one of those sectors, Calvin, we're talking about is construction. Now, in Kenya, when you talk about construction, we visualize and we know it's concrete building. In fact, when you're visualizing your house, you're thinking about bricks and you're thinking about concrete. But times are changing, and when you talk about interventions towards lesser carbon emissions, then there should be alternatives also in this sector. And right now, I'm joined by James Mitchell from BuiltX and Robin from Dalba Catalyst. Welcome. I mean, James, when I think about construction, for me, you're telling us that using timber as a tool for construction is better for the environment compared to using bricks that we used in this market. How so?
Exactly. So timber is a renewable material, meaning that we can grow more of it, unlike concrete or cementitious materials and steel. So when we grow forests, those forests sequester carbon from the atmosphere, and that carbon remains stored inside the wood. So if we're able to use that wood instead of for burning, for fire, or for letting it rot and decay, but actually place it in buildings, we can store that carbon safely where it doesn't hurt the atmosphere, doesn't contribute to climate change for decades or even centuries.
And where does concrete stand? Is it a complementary situation because of the tradition of construction that we're used, we're used to in this market? Does it work for us or not?
Yeah, we're not anti-concrete. We have to acknowledge that concrete is a high carbon emitting material, and so the goal here is to simply use less of it. Use it where it's the best material for the job. And that's not often in the material that we use above ground. But still, things like foundations and other elements of buildings still need concrete, or still are best done using concrete.
And the argument of, from somebody who's seated at home and they're thinking, okay, when we start using timber heavily for construction, that means that our forests, if that demand goes up, we need to cut down our forests more. Question is, you've talked about that cyclic nature. Trees absorb carbon, store in them. We can utilize that in construction. Talk to me about creating that sustainable environment where we are not hurting our source of timber.
I can definitely answer that, but my colleague Robin is your more forestry expert, so I'm going to pass to her.
All right, lovely. Robin, good to see you. You told me you're from South Africa. We're chatting about load shedding, but today is about, timber. Talk to me, how do we create a sustainable environment around timber in construction?
Sure. So actually, when we look at our forests need to be protected, managed, and actually adapted to climate change. And all of that needs money. And right now, there is not enough money going into forests. There's not enough investment. But if we can sustainably increase the demand for mass timber, we can actually use that revenue to drive positive changes in the forest. We're not speaking about clear cutting. We're not speaking about mass harvesting. We're speaking about sustainably managing a forest in a way that doesn't affect the overall forest cover. If you're able to do that, you can actually improve forests, improve biodiversity, improve the carbon sink, and actually get revenue to the communities that live in and around forests.
That's kind of a very interesting approach. Earlier on, I was in your session, and one of the guys that spoke to Mr. Mitchell here, who used to do logging back in the day, before it was banned almost 6 years ago, his concern is, do we have enough timber to sustain the housing demand when you talk about Africa as a continent?
We do. Particularly within East Africa, we have many different types of forests, many different forests that need to be sustainably managed. So if you, for example, cut down the lower diameter trees, you're actually improving the fire safety of your forest. You're decreasing fire risk. you can use forests that have been affected by diseases or pests. So you're actually able to create more sustainable climate, resilient forests.
All right, Noah there speaking about sustainable construction. Thank you so much for that. Now we are going to get to our second conversation where we are joined by Dorothy Maseke, who is the head of African Natural Capital Alliance.